The only thing that I knew that was open was WFG. So I came down, I was like, let me check out what mom and dad are doing. So I was coded at 18.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right, we'll get back to that. Okay, Simon,
Oh, you actually started at 18.
No,
Oh, okay.
coded, didn't start really.
Okay. Okay, I feel a little bit better then. Okay. I was coded at 18. I didn't start till 24. But no, I went the regular path. I'm Asian, as you can tell. Surprise, right? So yes, I'm good at school. I'll be honest. Yes, good at school. I study hard. Go to a good college. I study finance. I went to work for a hedge fund for a couple of years after. I was 21 years old. I don't even make any money, but I'm somehow managing $15 billion of your investment accounts. Actually, funny. My actual mutual fund is involved in the Prudential RILA. That's my desk. Anyways, doesn't matter. So I think I'm doing okay. You know, I'm 21 years old. I'm making maybe 100, 150K.
21?
At that time, yeah, I was 21.
Oh.
Like, no. Yeah, at that time, I wish. Okay. But no, I just started to do what everyone else does, right? I work, I study hard, I get a job, right? And I did that for about 2 years plus, and then I realized that even though I still work hard, 80 hours a week, you still realize you're not in control of your own schedule. And then I realized that all my hard work is still not owned by me. It's owned by company. So it doesn't matter how hard I work, I still get paid same amount. I'm just here making company a little richer and richer and richer every single day. So that's when I decided to go part-time. I made my first 100K part-time. And then job pissed me off enough that I was like, screw it, I'm going to go full-time. So I've been full-time now for about the last 9 months. Yeah.
Okay. So in both of your stories, I'm sure, I don't know actually. So my dad actually never talked to me about like joining and doing the business. Yeah, no, he really did. It was actually Diane Chow who recruited me. I was always around it, so I was, it was like I was brought up in the business, but I was never talked to about like one day you're going to join, you should do this, whatever. I want to know about your guys' upbringing. Did your parents ever talk to you? How often or not at all? Stuff like that.
So, growing up in this business, I was very fortunate and blessed to travel a lot. They were very successful from a young age. I've been to Hawaii more times than I can count. My very first super trip was South Korea and Japan. And we're going again this year, but this time I actually qualified, so it's kind of like a full circle moment. But no, never in my childhood, in my high school, did they ever talk to me about joining the business. They never forced it on me either. So they always gave me the opportunity to try out different businesses. Heck, I wanted to become a designer. I wanted to become like you guys heard, a realtor, a bakery owner. I even almost started a catering service for boba at one point. We got the LLC, we got the table, we got the materials, we got the Thai tea imported from Thailand, and then it just never happened. So they never forced me.
That was going to be a hard sell coming from. Boba's supposed to be sold by Asian people, but anyways.
And you know where that was inspired from?
What was it inspired from?
My catering idea was that boba would be served in like light bulb glasses, and that was inspired by the Korea super trip.
Oh, okay, all right.
So no,
so,
they had
okay.
Never
So,
forced
but in
it on
general, sorry, not to cut off
We're
track,
good.
but so they never talked to you about it.
No.
Okay, all right. What about you, Simon?
No, they never forced it on me. And then when I decided to join, my mom voted against it. They didn't really push it on me. But even when I did want to join, my mom said I wasn't emotionally able to handle this. I don't know what that means, but they're not here right now. That's why I'm saying this. Okay. No, they never forced it. Actually, just word of advice for everybody, right? If you want, I want you to build a great legacy for your children. That's what me and him are both here for, right? But just one piece of advice, here's what not to do, okay? Is that you come to me and Stepan, you drag your 13-year-old son that I can tell doesn't even want to be here, and you say, Simon, recruit him. And I said, what do you want me to do? I'm not God. What can I do, right? But actually, I will take from what Alicia said, right? My dad and my parents, they just included me all the time. So I was at office all the time. I was on every trip. You know, I'm 27. I've been to Hawaii 22 times so I was on all the trips. And then the funny thing is, my honest advice for all you guys is please make a business so grand and so amazing that it would be stupid for me not to join you. That's my actual answer, trust. Every time I got promoted at my job, my dad says, oh, that's cute. It's a true story, man. I get raised from 120 to 130. Oh, buy me dinner. You know, that's so cute, right? But it's because it's who he is, right? So I'll be honest, it'd be a fool for me not to do this. That's my
So they
recommendation.
never was like, oh, don't
No,
you
they
know,
never.
WFG, we can give it to
They
you,
already
blah,
know
blah.
it. They already know
No?
it. That's the thing. When you are so big and you already see it and you know that we're both experiencing it, they don't have to show. They don't have to tell us. They are showing it every day, every month, every year. Yeah.
Okay. Are there any painful or resentful parts of growing up as a WFG kid? Or maybe at the time you were upset, at the time you were resentful. Now that you're in it, you realize. But was there any? I mean, hey, we're humans and we're family, right? Like,
Yeah.
it could be right now too. I
No.
mean, you know.
No.
Especially right now.
No, I can't say there was any resentment. I mean, there was probably a couple moments where I just didn't see how much they were providing for me. I remember one moment very specifically when I was a little kid. We were literally going to the movie theater, and I turned around to my mom and I said, "Mom, we haven't gone to the movie in so long. Like, why don't you take us anymore?" And she turned around, she's like, "We're going right now. Like, I don't know why you're being such a brat." But it was probably we had a gala, an office gala, about a year or 2 years ago. But she had brought up that topic of, you know, she didn't know if her commitment in this business would be enough for, you know, us not to resent, me and my sister to resent them for not being there during our childhood. But it's not that they weren't there. My grandparents are the ones that took care of us during the day after school. But they would come home. Me and my sister would run to them. We'd hug them. We'd kiss them. They would take us out. Like I said, we've been to many super trips. We've been to many Vegas trips. We've been to many Hawaii trips as well. So there wasn't really anything to resent because it was all made up. At the end of the day, they did it all for us and the family. Now we're living in a spectacular, 1 acre property in Altadena that, thank God, survived the fires of LA. My grandparents are both retired, both sides, moms and dads. And I mean, this business was a blessing to them. I know my mom started off at a very young age due to typically not how you want to start off a business. But I don't want to elongate the answer, but no, I don't resent them. There was no resentment.
For me, I think I was too young to feel that resentment anyways. By the time I was maybe 10, I think Dad hit his first million. So by the time I was not conscious, but able to comprehend what this business really was, he was already winning. So all I know about this business is winning. I'll be honest, that's all I've been around. So I think I'm more resentful about it now that I'm in. And I see, why am I having so many struggle? But no, it's truly, he lied to me. I grew up in a family. I said, wow, I joined a business. I make $1 million. I'm here 3 years. I don't see it, right? But no, honestly, like, you know, by the time I was in middle school, he was already 7-figure earner. So there was nothing to resent. He was completely in control of his time. When I needed him at baseball, he was there. But Tuesday on at 3 p.m., only father there. Why? Because he's in control of his schedule, right? So yes, he is working his BPM all nights. We didn't have family dinners all the time. But when I did want him, like asked him, hey, can you come to my saxophone, you know, recital, or come to this baseball? Yeah, saxophone. I play saxophone. Anyways, or a baseball tournament, right? He was there 100%. Yeah. So win now.
Same-
I think that's
same for
my
you.
advice. Yeah.
When we had a recital, I was also in dance, so saxophone's not that weird. I was in tights.
Thank you.
It was traditional Armenian dance. So I was in like like tights.
We're not judging. We're all accepting here. Okay.
I need a demonstration.
No.
Ooh, G25 Entertainment. The saxophone and the tights dancing. And I'll be like, the MC hip hop person on the side. Yeah.
If you don't,
Okay.
I rapped last year. I'm done.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sorry.
that
You were saying they were always there for
Yeah,
you.
but anytime we had like a dance recital, I mean, at one point my mom was showing up so much to my school. I was like, "Do you work here?" Like, but again, they would show up if we asked, and I have no doubt your parents did the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. There's so many more. I'm just gonna wrap it up with this. What's growing? I guess. Obviously I'm asking these questions because there's a lot of parents here, and you probably recruited them in your own team, or you see them in your parents' team, that they always have this power struggle between putting time into the business versus the traditional way of raising a family that especially Western society or employee society base us off of, right? And sometimes it also come from, even if we're not from America, we come from our home country. We built this well, my parents were working so hard. I never saw them. That's why I want to be there for them. And then we have that struggle, right? So it doesn't matter. It's just some natural past trauma that usually spills into this generation that we want to have always be there, whatnot. We all share the same experience of, parents not there every single day. We always talk about quality of time versus quantity of time. I'm sure all of our parents didn't help us with homework, didn't pick us up from school, drop us off, didn't take us to all the practices. But when it was those important times that meant a lot to us, they were always there, right? Yeah. But out of all the reasons to join, so now all three of us, you kind of mentioned why you joined, but I guess more so, everybody knows why we joined probably, but why do you see a future here? Your parents have already been doing it for 20, 30 years, right? And some people, let's just say like some of our friends probably they have restaurants and stuff like that, but why you see a future, why are you so excited to continue this business? Does it make sense what I'm trying to ask?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would say the reason I pursued this business, I started off, she showed me her cash flow and I was like, please sign me up. But you join for one reason and you stick around for another reason. And just throughout the first family I helped through the entire platform, I was like, okay, this is what I have to do. This is like what I want to do. But, with AI coming into effect, a lot of jobs are at risk. A lot of businesses are at risk. And I know our business is not at risk. And the thing is, we help a family today, but their needs are going to be different like 5-10 years from now or later on down the line. And I feel like this is a business where you're constantly in contact with the same client. Your business is never dying out. The market is infinite. There's so many people here just in California, let alone all across the United States, which we were all able to expand to during COVID due to Zoom. But basically, the possibility is unlimited. You're not held back by anything. And ultimately, I can see myself building my own career, my own business, surpassing them. But also when they
I agree. They're not that big, okay? Come on.
yeah, they just hit EVC, bro. But ultimately, this is a business that gets passed down generation to generation. And I see that I'm able to carry that on into my kids, their grandkids, and my grandkids, and so on and so forth. So WSB is where it's at.
Awesome. Actually, I'm going to change the question a little bit for you, not because he does such a good job answering. So another question clicked to me. One question I always get asked, why do I work so hard when I don't have to? Financially, I'm pretty sure, Simon, you don't have to. Unless maybe you could tell us, do John and Julie cut you off or something like that? But, yeah. Why? That's one of the questions I get asked a lot, or a lot of ways I even get introduced to the business. Like, let's welcome up our head coach, the person that doesn't have to work, Alicia Nguyen, right? Why do you still work, even though financially it's not a big pressure?
That's a deep question. You can hand down business to a child that doesn't deserve it, and they'll ruin it in 1 year. Yeah. You can hand down money to a child that doesn't deserve it, they'll spend it in 1 year, right? So I think the only thing is that, when I'm here, I represent the Wu family, and I feel that, And, my parents are still my parents. They raised me how they want to raise me, and they never raised me to be lazy. I was working since I was 14 years old, illegally, by the way. I wish I was joking.
Where did you work?
I work at my aunt's ice cream shop. Mm-hmm. It's a Korean shaved ice. Mm-hmm. So I'm there, 14 years old. My mom picks me up from school, drops me off at my aunt. I'm all right? I go home crying because I work 6 hours, and then she pays me under the table. Anyways. No, but that was my life. I've been working since I was 14 because my parents taught me that you need to learn the value of money. And as much as I was given every opportunity, but you still have to earn your way through it. And the biggest thing for me is that my dad told me ever since I was a kid, you got to save money, right? You make $1,000, save 200. You make 100,000, save 20, right? So I've been learning to do that. And then I realized when I was about 21 years old that my parents were doing it for me before I could even realize. So I'm 21 years old. I have an account here worth about $100,000, and my dad.
He's taken, okay? So.
And my dad says, "Hey, this is your starting point, right? But you better not touch it. You better build it up faster and better, right?" So yes, I realized that at that moment, this business was no longer theory. This was before I even joined, by the way, right? But this business is not theory. What we're teaching you is all real. Why? Because I'm a product of it. And I think I'm wasting my God-given potential if I don't try to at least give it to every family that I know. Why? Because I'm not good. I was very, very lucky. But the thing is that children can, it's kind of sad that we all come here to the US for a better life, right? Mm-hmm. We end up working for money. But there are ways that you can teach people how to make your money work for you, but school doesn't teach you. That's a problem for me, right? Yeah. And if one of us, we don't do it, then how would your family know? So my thing is that I was just lucky that my parents knew. So me and my 2 sisters were saved. I'll be honest, I'm retired, just like Alicia said. I am. But it's not, I'm wasting my potential if I just leave it at that, right? There are a lot of families just like me that look like us, right, that coming here for a better life, and they don't even have a chance unless you step in the door, right? That's why I love what we do. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's give the WFG kids a big, big hand. Great job, boy. Can I stand in the middle? Someone take a picture?
You want a picture? Yeah.
Look at this.
Go on, Jack.
Look at these 2 towering boys over me. All right, thank you. Okay. All right, and one last panel I'm going to ask to come up. Since I have some CEOs in the house, can I have Landon, Kevin too, and Yvonne come up here? Okay, and I'm just going to ask you one question. Okay, I'm going to ask you one question about convention. Okay?
Oh, about convention.
All right. So now you heard about raising kids and whatnot. Okay. Now let's talk about convention. My question is, was any of you invited to convention like, oh, this is a good picture too. Yeah. It's the opposite happening over here. Okay. Okay. Were any of you invited to convention with less than like 2 weeks notice? Your first convention? How much time did you have notice when you got invited to your first convention? Was it like a month in advance, 2 weeks in advance?
I don't remember that because I don't remember that because what I got invited to was like the meetings, and then whatever happened in the meeting, I knew I had to be at the event. So like the meeting sold me the event, not the person that brought me. Does that make sense?
Okay. Kevin?
Good evening. So my first convention was by accident. So I joined at that time in 1997, end of 1997. So I didn't invite anybody. So one day that my business partner, we used to sell shoes together, lady shoes at the mall. So he was asking me a question that, have you heard of a company called WMA? He came up to me very strong. And then almost like want to punch me in the face or something like that. Very aggressive. So I say, why? He said, I heard this company that whoever joined this company make a lot of money and I want to join. I said, oh, I am in the company. So that's how I got my first recruit. And then I took him to the meeting on that day happening that your dad was doing a San Jose convention in 1998 in the January time at that time. So I just joined, and not too long ago, because I came with my friend, and then my MD were talking about going to the convention, take a bus, and he said he decided want to go, and that's why my first time. Okay. So I said, okay, I'll go with you. That's it.
Okay.
That's how I go.
What about you, Landon?
Yeah, so, hey guys. So I was 19 years old when I joined. And my first convention was, I joined in March of 2008, and I was part-time, and I ended up, I made a first good sale in July, and I quit my job. Yeah, in fact, I never quit, I just never showed up again. So I thought, man, I got the, I got the tiger by the tail, I can run with this thing. And anyways, I struggled with money. I never made too much money. I think my first year I made 12 grand. And they told me I needed to come to convention, and that was in March of 2009 in Los Angeles. And I never had any money, so I needed to borrow my.
That was going to be my second question.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you can be the first to answer the second question.
Okay, so the first answer is no.
Okay, so the first answer is you had how much time to convention? Like
a year.
Oh, a year in advance.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, I'm just because now we're like
not a good answer.
Yeah, it's okay.
He's making a better answer.
Everybody have different answer. That's fine. I'm just trying to say that there's still plenty of time to invite to convention.
Yes.
Totally.
Because I see people already, posting their tickets on WSB community, like, oh, I have one or whatever, and I feel very disappointed that they already with almost 2 months, and yet you can tell they already lost the vision of recruiting, lost the vision of building, right? So that's why I asked, like, hey, if you only have 2 week notice or you only have 1 week notice, I know, is there anybody in here that was recruited or asked to go within like less than 2 weeks notice? Okay, Jack and Virginia, Vin Lee, Elaine, okay, Murphy, whatnot, so Angelina, so it's still plenty of time, okay? But anyway, that's okay, all right? That was going to be my second question, so Landon, you can answer first. That's going to be the last question. We don't have time for anything else. But basically, so one is time. The other most common one is money, right? Yeah. So what is a story or time that you had to borrow money, you had to stay in a room with someone, you had to sleep in a certain place, just for the sake of convention? So.
Yeah. So I was dead broke. I never had any money. I ended up borrowing money from my SMD. He put it on his credit card for me to get my ticket. I paid him back. I borrowed money from my brother just so that I'd be able to have some money. I bought a big bag of trail mix and I ate that for like 3 days. And I slept in a bathtub because they never had. It's all right if Kevin sleeps in a bathtub, but it was a regular bathtub.
This generation is different.
So okay, so sorry. That was that's all the things you had to do for your first convention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank God I was there.
Yeah.
You
Thank
know.
God he's there. You know what he just told me in Mozo? He just hit $2 million income. We just need to fix something. That's why you're here in retreat, because you hit 2 million, but he gonna try for 2,000 recruits. So you gotta copy him, okay? All right. So Kevin, what is something financially you had to do for the convention?
Well, when I first joined the company, that I don't have a lot of money, and then haven't making the money. My story is took me 2.5 years to have my license. I don't have the money at that time, and then going to convention because short of fund, we have to take a bus. Our MD at that time was organize a bus for us, but because of short of money, that's why 6 guy was in one room at that time. Some taking turn to sleep on the bed. Of course, I remember at that time that we check in at the hotel and they ask us how many of you. We say 2, but we didn't tell them to walk in at the time. So that was six of us, and I didn't have a chance like this guy sleep in the bathtub or eating mixed nuts, trail mix. I eat real food. but of course we have to take out whatever we have just to buy stuff. You know what I found out that because when I came into the convention, at that time I joined the business because of one of my classmates was asked me to join the business. I went into the BPM. They talk about the business I did not understand at all. But I joined the business. But because of the convention, I walked into the convention. I remember at that time your dad had the convention in San Jose Convention, about 10,000 people. And as soon as I walked in, I looked down, I saw a Vietnamese man spoke in front of 10,000, spoke the English that I understood. So that will stress my vision at that time. I say it to myself, I promise myself, I say, one day I'm going to have an opportunity to stand in front of 10,000 and speak. And I made it happen.
Yeah. And
I mean,
you are both. You're money and childcare because you single mom and the kids
Yeah.
are little, right? Can you talk about that?
I feel like I've been independent since I've joined. Even though I was part of a base shop that everybody would match up to help. Like for example, share rooms. I feel like if I remember my first event, it was like I stayed with people in the base. That not maybe one person under me and then somebody else. That's what I remember. As far as money I actually always had a job. I always made money. And so the hard part was I had to spend all of my money all the time so that I can make this work. Like my regular job, pay the babysitter, so I was going. So, but I always found my way. It was me that once I started getting people that are always saying that they don't have money, that's when I started to have to do things like get a van and drive 12 hours to the event just to get some people on board. So,
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Let's give them a big hand. All right. So we ran out of time to do a Titanx retreat recap, but on the webinar on Tuesday, we'll definitely make time for that. But obviously, we use the chance to have all the out-of-towners share with you their experience, so you can see the 2 extremes, right? Kids of rich parents because they are big builders. How they grow up, why they decide to do the business with their parents, and I think it's a beautiful thing that we all grow up pretty happy, childhood, no resentment, which I think most likely is the biggest fear of most parents out there, right? So of course, we're not saying to leave your kids and neglect them and everything's going to work out. But you can tell, that through, I think it sounds like travel was a big deal to us. The fact that we got to go to Hawaii and, super trip every single year had a big impact on us. And the fact that they didn't have to be there all the time, but it was only when on the important things that we really remember the most. And so that's your hint for the child side. And for the business side, basically do whatever it takes if you want to become big, whether it's financially, whether it's childcare or spending the money, or whether it's sleeping in a tub, sometime, I think it's a similar mentality when we talk about people going full-time, Lex, it's like, oh, well, because I still want to have my health insurance. That's why I didn't quit my job yet. Or, oh, because I still want to have a pension plan. I need to work 2 more years to my pension plan finish. That's why I didn't quit my job yet. That's very similar to a concept of that, you want to keep holding on to the convenience in your life. But you didn't realize that convenience is you letting go of full control of your future. Does that make sense? So I explained this in Houston, is that, you look into things like, oh, well, at least it's a guaranteed income and whatnot. So you always look into what you could lose, the stability on your corporate side or on the income side. But you never measure the loss of your business opportunity. So, sure, if you talk about health insurance, even if you have a very expensive, because you have so many kids or you're sick or something like that, honestly, that's maximum 2 or 3 sales. You do 2-3 sales a month, you pay for the health insurance, right? You try to hold on to a pension that, try to pay you for the rest of your life an extra $5,000-$10,000. But you didn't know that you can, in that 2 years, you could have built a bigger team that probably pay you 20, 30, 40,000 for the next 10, 20 years, right? So we always tend to look at only what we lose right now, but we didn't look at what we can lose if we didn't put in our time for the future. And that is also my message for convention. It's too early for you to give up too soon. I'm very sad to see some of the posts already, but probably that's actually more of a reflection of the leadership, like on the MD, on the SMD level. That's why the Titan X retreat is so important for you to understand reading bubble chart, for you to understand going deep, because you should have filled out the tickets yourself. Even if you should be happy that the associate or MD buy the extra tickets, one or 2 per person to, help you expand your own base shop, but it's your job to fill that ticket. So that's what's important for Group A. You make sure you go deep, you apply, and you get now the next rally is the June 7th summit and the convention. And Group B, get ready to, knock your socks off the next 2 days. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll continue here in Gold Street. Thank you, Zoom. Bye-bye, Zoom.